Hey, welcome back. My name's Taylor if you're new here, and I am the founder of Habitat Interiors Co. Today's video, you're going to be seeing a replay version of a recent event I just held. And the whole point of this event was to give people a taste of what it would look like to work with me if you do a design consultation. So I call this service sample, so you can get a taste of what it's like to work with me. If you're interested in getting similar free design advice, I'm hosting this series called Summer Design Delight Series. So the version you're about to see was for June, and there's going to be a July and August edition of this series as well. So if you're interested in getting free design advice, go ahead and follow the link in the description so you can figure out how to, one, attend and two, submit your space. If you don't want your space to be here on YouTube shared publicly, then you can also check out my service called Sample, which is very similar, just a little bit longer of a session with me. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hopefully will see you in an upcoming event.
Okay, unfortunately, I don't think that the person who submitted the space is on the call with us today, but that's fine. We'll just kind of fill in the gaps where need be. These were some of the screenshots that this person sent in. Really great that there's like a little bit of a floor plan here, because I think that can help give some additional context for folks. So let's start off with the questions again. So first question, what is the number one problem that if we solve together would feel like a win? And the answer was how to best utilize the space to be functional for both of us. I was going to give some context, but I think actually one of his answers gives a little more context as we get in. So here's a couple pictures of the space. And then the next question was around what elements that I should include when I'm approaching the design. And he shared that they're a young couple, so they're not really looking for a formal dining space. They both work from home and we're considering using this as an office, but it sounds like they don't want to share it as an office, so it seems unfair for only one of them to use it as an office. And so some of the ideas that they were thinking about was to kind of have like a speakeasy, a game room for intimate nights together, or for like fun with entertaining friends. And then I kind of just had like another question of just like any other additional things like that I should know. And he decided to tell me that it's the den space here, and they haven't moved into the house yet. So all these pictures were just from kind of like the listing when they were buying their home. So they seem pretty open to all of the options, which is great. So I, as a designer, usually like to start with the floor plan, just because I think it's good context for me to figure out like, how are we experiencing this space? We're not usually like experiencing it as one single room. We're usually like coming to it from somewhere, or we'll be going through it to get to somewhere else. So if I understand the floor plan correctly, I'm assuming the stoop is where the entrance is. So the staircase is right when you walk in, and across from that is the space that we're going to be looking at. So let's go back to some of these pictures. A few things that stick out to me about the space is these like great doors with kind of like this transom window type of detail. I can't fully tell if this is crown molding around the top or not, because I'm not sure what this like darker stripe is. But so we have some like kind of fun features to work with. Let's see. It also is kind of like a passageway into the kitchen, which is kind of like an interesting thing to be working around. And I think that was kind of like, yeah, my initial things that I was thinking about. So if we want to go towards the kind of like speakeasy game room vibe, which I think sounds really fun, I'm kind of thinking that Here, I'm going to go into kind of this mode again. I'm thinking that if we got kind of like a round table to put in the center here. This isn't really the vibe, but for funsies, we're going to put this one here. If we did kind of like a round table in the middle, maybe something that had like a little bit more weight, maybe this feels like a little bit heavier in like a game table. I think that this could be kind of a fun way to like, yes, you could have your games here if you want to like host friends and just wanted to gather around here for drinks, or even if like on the off chance you want to use this space as like an office and you just like need a separate area to take a Zoom call or something. I think having like a round table in the middle here would be really nice because it will not impede the flow of the room and having to get around it, but be kind of like a central gathering place for some of the potential like fun activities. And I think, let me look at some of these other pictures again. Yeah, and I think that potentially this like front porch area or the yard even, I don't know, it could be a really like nice situation if you're all like gathering for drinks with friends to have those doors open. And I don't know, it's summer mode in my brain, so I'm thinking like that would be really lovely. I think that I would also maybe similarly to stand space, do something kind of interesting with this back wall. I'm not sure again that I would utilize this wall for a lot just because we already have this doorway. But this back wall, this is like one of the first things you're going to be seeing as you walk into the home. Like you're going to walk in, and if you turn right, this is like a first impression of sorts. So I think having like either some storage for like drinks and whatever you're envisioning for like your speakeasy setup, potentially like cabinetry along this whole wall, like the base of the wall, maybe even like a little wine fridge that you could put in here, and then more shelving. I have no idea like budgets here, so I'm just letting my mind go wild. But I think that having like glass shelving could be a really like interesting element to bring into the space. Maybe even like a darker glass. I guess I could try to draw this again, but let me see if I can get another picture to kind of show what I'm thinking. Right. Okay, so I'm thinking kind of like this vibe. So if we like had a darker paint color, get this out here. If we had like a darker paint color as kind of like the background and then did some sort of glass shelving, this kind of like brass situation is kind of interesting too, to kind of like display a lot of that barware. And then the cabinetry underneath could hold the games if like we want to do the game night situation. Yeah, I think that that could be really cool. I think painting this space, like if I'm understanding it, where he's coming from, it feels like we're wanting this to be like a dark, sexy, moody space. So I think if that is the direction, like painting this room is going to have like a really big impact and be really cool. Yeah, so I think that's kind of generally the direction that I would go in. I wish he was here so we could kind of like have a little bit of a back and forth. Anything that you guys think would, oh, lighting option? Yeah. I'm trying to think. If we did like this really cool kind of like back bar area, I don't think that I want lighting that like comes down too far. However, something different as the light fixture could be cool. Maybe like a little lamp on the shelving in the back could be fun. I know some people like to kind of like light the bars. Like we could do some sort of like integrated LED lighting type of situation, but I don't know. I think that I kind of like the idea of like this being like a dark room. So maybe just finding like a flush mount up here so it's not hanging down too much into the space. So we're really just like taking in that back bar situation would be nice. I'm thinking. Oh, sconces. Yeah. Depending how much is like on this wall here, it's really the only situation. Actually, maybe sconces like on either side of one of these doorways could be like a nice element too. Let me go back here. So there would be room to do, yeah, so we kind of have like 3 different doorways, which can make a room really tricky. So I think we have the door, I think this is the doorway out to the front yard here. Then that one from the entrance, and then the one into the kitchen. I don't know if I would do sconces on like both sides of all 3 of them, but potentially maybe the entrance wall could be really cool as another lighting element. And I kind of like how that stays on the perimeter, so like that the overall essence of the room still stays like kind of dark. Let's see. I think what else. I wish he was here so I could ask him some more questions. I really want to know if this is crown molding up here. I mean, it looks like some sort of molding. I'm just kind of unsure what's happening with this like strip at the top. I think that having all of this the same color at the top at a minimum would be good, but I think, yeah, painting the whole room could be really nice. I'm thinking a really dark, like chocolatey brown potentially, or I don't know if I would go into the blue territory because I think that I would want it to like a rich warm brown, a really like dark red color maybe. Something that has like a warm hue to it would be nice. Maybe even like a warm purple. Let me see if in my little pink colors thing I have something that would be good. Here's a color that I like from Benjamin Moore. Oh, was it gonna make me do a screenshot? Oh. So this is a color from Benjamin Moore called Dinner Party. I think maybe I would go even slightly darker than this potentially. But that could be interesting. Let me see if there's another one in here that could be good. Here's another one from Benjamin Moore. This is called Cafe Utopia. I'll put the names on the screen in just one second in case it's helpful. Yeah, I think something in this direction could be kind of cool. So let's see, I have some comments. Let's see. I like the idea of cabinets and glass shelving. Totally makes it functional and aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, I think a moody, subtly patterned wallpaper could be cool, depending on the shelf or the cabinet style, so it's not too busy. Yeah, I think a wallpaper could be cool. I feel like a lot of men in particular are very not into wallpaper, so I was kind of thinking not going that direction, but I agree it could be a nice way to go. Let's see if I can get this over here. Let's see. If I were to suggest a wallpaper, I think something that's like more textural in nature could be cool without it feeling like too overwhelming. So like a grass cloth wallpaper. Let me see if I can find an example here. Okay, so this image has a grass cloth wallpaper in kind of like a darker hue that I'm kind of thinking. It gives a really nice variation to the wall. I think it makes it a little bit cozier because it kind of has like that tactile feel to it. So yeah, I definitely think that a wallpaper could be cool in this space. I think this is more the direction that I would go in than a pattern wallpaper. Although I do think that some guys are also more into like Art Deco type of pattern. So let me see if I can find kind of like an interesting Art Deco situation. Okay, I'm not really finding anything that feels like it would fully fit the bill for me. Let's see this. Okay, this might be a little out there as a suggestion. However, I think that something like this could also be pretty cool. It definitely is like a more bold pattern. However, I don't know. I think for a bar situation, people can be a little bit more willing to do something that's kind of like dramatic. So yeah, I think let's go ahead and go with this for now, because I think that that could be kind of cool, especially if you do kind of like the glass and brass kind of a situation that could just all play really fun together. Yeah, I think we'll get rid of the suggestion for the paint color. And yeah, I think that having like a pretty the elements in the room staying kind of like more dark and neutral, but then if you wanted to add some like fun pops with like different barware or glassware stuff, like I think that that could be kind of fun. Let's see. Sorry, let me go back to these comments really quick. You're feeling the paint colors. Do you do both, or is it too much? I don't think that I would do well. Okay, let me take that back. You could do both of the paint colors. The way that I would do that is either like do all of that trim work and crown molding in one color and all of the walls in the opposite color, or I would do the ceiling a different color and everything else the other color. I think that that could be really interesting. Like the red ceiling could be like a really like oof kind of moment. Not sure I would pair that with the wallpaper though. Like I think you gotta either pick the wallpaper or like the bold paint. Great Gatsby vibes. Yes, Art Deco. Definitely. The dinner party color could be an accent color via pillows or handles or picture frame. Yeah, totally. Okay, so what I'm understanding is either, here, let me go back actually. Option one, let's make two different boards because we're kind of getting a little bit same here. So we did this color on all the walls. Let's say this color, oops, not what I wanted. This color on the ceiling. That could be like a really fun way to go. Or we could, I say, do this color on the ceiling. I don't think that I would necessarily wallpaper the ceiling in this scenario with this kind of wallpaper idea along the walls. This could also be like the trim color and then everything that's not the wallpaper essentially. I don't think that I would do the wallpaper behind the bar just because that would be not great for like cleaning if anything happened to spill. But everywhere else, I think you could pretty much do the wallpaper. Okay. I think that's where I'm going to end the ideas for this first / the second submission that we're reviewing. So I'm going to stop. Well, actually, any other commentary or questions about what I'm thinking through with this one?
I have a question about, well, we don't know if they're curtain people or not. That makes me wonder, like, depending on how much, like, the pictures show this house is really sunny. So it makes me wonder about, like, will the wallpaper or, like, the paint, like, fade over time? They need to make sure that they have curtains to, like, preserve the color fastedness or thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I would always suggest window treatments of some form. However, when I think of like color bleaching or like any sort of like sun kind of element altering color or something, I don't think too much about like walls. I'm much more concerned about like floors and furniture. I honestly don't know if like the sun interacts with like paint in that way or not. It's not something that I've ever really considered or been aware of. So not sure if I can be helpful with that particular piece. But yeah, furniture specifically is something that I would be more concerned about for getting bleached, I guess. So yeah, I think there's a lot of like fun window covering options that we could do for this home, but we don't really get to that, which is totally fine. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and not that this is face to face, but be more face to face with you if you have questions. This was fun and helpful to remind the space, of course. Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, Taylor, I was wondering, I like the idea of the round table in the middle of that room, but it looks like space is an issue. So what kind of chairs would you do? Because that's a great game table, bar table for sitting around with friends. So what kind of chairs would you suggest for that?
Yeah, here, maybe I'll share my screen one more time, actually. Yeah, so if we look at kind of like this floor plan view, let's see if I can do just like a circle. So I'm imagining the table be about somewhere around this size. Obviously, this isn't to scale, so I can't totally tell for sure if this is correct. So I think what I would do is I would do 4 chairs, and instead of putting them kind of like at 90-degree angles of here, 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 and here, I think that I would still do 4 chairs, but oops, that's not what I wanted. Do more of the placement of
Okay.
so you're kind of taking advantage of the corners a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
You would definitely have to be cognizant of, yeah, like the scale of these chairs, depending on the size of that table and how it fits in the room. But generally, this is kind of like what I would envision it to kind of like
Okay.
appropriately function. Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of chairs would you recommend for that space?
Yeah, I mean, I think that somewhere that's like really loungy, I would opt for something that's kind of like a bigger footprint, because like something with like arms and like just really cushy, because it feels like a space that you would want to like linger in for a while. But that would be my preference if space allows. If it doesn't allow, then yeah, I'm not sure if I have a great suggestion for something that's smaller in footprint, besides like probably chairs that don't have an arm or just like a really low profile arm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you either in my next video or next event. So thanks, bye.